Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Nonprofit Show. Brittany Bedford is here with us today from Bloomerang. And I know we're going to hit it off because in the green room, you said, "Oh, Julia, I could talk about events all day long." And I was like, bring it on, sister, because this is a big topic. And I'm really interested to learn from you, Brittany, because I think it's just a changing time coming off of COVID, all these different things that have been going on with technology and the exciting opportunities we have. But talking today more specifically about long-term donor events and how we should be thinking about this. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Julia. I'm so excited to be here and to chat on my favorite topic.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it's a great topic, and it's one that is can confound people as well. You know what never confounds us on the Nonprofit Show are our amazing partners, and they include Bloomerang, American Nonprofit Academy, Staffing Boutique, Nonprofit Thought Leader, Interim Executives Academy, Fundraisers Friday, Your Part-Time Controller, and JMT Consulting. I want to give a shout out to JMT really quickly. I was at their conference in Nashville last week, Innovate 2025. It's a fintech conference. So I thought, oh man, I'm going to be with hundreds and hundreds of financial, players, the CFOs, the comptrollers, the accountants, CPAs. It was great and it was really inspirational. So thank you, JMT. Again, I'm Julia C. Patrick, CEO of the American Nonprofit Academy. Okay, Brittany Bedford, Customer Success Manager. That's a pretty heavy crown to wear at Bloomerang. What do you do, my friend?
Oh my gosh. I always tell everybody that I have the best job in the world. I basically get the pleasure of creating and forging these incredibly meaningful relationships with thousands of nonprofits, and coming alongside them and really just helping them strategize the best fundraising strategies and event strategies using our fundraising suite of tools here at Bloomerang.
I
So
love it.
lots of
You
fun
know,
stuff.
I love that you said sweet. I was working with a group yesterday here in my hometown in Phoenix, a very, very important foundation. And they mentioned that they use Bloomerang and that they just love it. And I was like, oh my gosh, those are my people. I love them too. And they said a really interesting thing. They said that they do a lot of different types of events. And so fundraising, community building, appreciation, you name it, they have all sorts of things. And one of the things that they said was when they originally invested in the Bloomerang suites, they never thought it would help them as much as it has with their event management. And
Oh,
that was like one of their big surprises. And I was like, oh my God, you're not going to believe this, but I'm talking to them tomorrow. I'm going to call that out. So pretty
that
cool.
that makes my whole day. Love this conversation already.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really, really fun. Well, let's get into it because I want to talk to you about transitioning events from transactional to inspirational. So, what does that mean? What is it, and what does it look like?
So I think that we've come to a place sometimes in our events where we're kind of seeing the same thing year over year,
Mhm.
showing up. We're seeing the same venue, we're seeing the same program, the same speakers, the same spiel. And anybody can throw a party, right?
Mhm.
But the whole point of these events that you are hosting should be to inspire. It shouldn't be, oh, another time for me to talk to the same people. These are people that you have relationships with,
Yeah.
and they're bringing new people to the table that you don't have a relationship with yet. So those
Mhm.
people should be leaving inspired. They should be feeling fully engaged. They should know exactly what's coming next. How can I continue this conversation and continue learning about your organization, what you're doing? How can I stay involved? So
Mhm.
it's really just driving home um, ways that you can engage with your attendees. They don't need to be just sitting around at a cocktail hour They need to be like talking to your staff, to your board members, playing games, really engaging
Mhm.
with you and this event. And then hearing that mission moment, getting just so inspired that your organization is the mission that they've been looking forward to supporting all along, and they finally found you.
You know, Brittany, it's such an interesting thing because you say this and it sounds like, "Durr, we should all get this." But I don't know, we don't get this. We don't do this. And it seems to me that, and this is just my opinion, but the events are so stressful and take up so much bandwidth within an organization, like a development team who maybe they're not event planners, that it's just easier and somewhat they think more productive just to kind of copy what was done last year. I mean, even sometimes, a lot of times, down to the menu,
Right.
do the rubber chicken, plan B kind of thing, so that we can get it in and get it out. And I really think this is, God, this for a lot of organizations, Brittany, this is going to be somewhat of a new concept.
Right. Well, I think historically, we're coming at events from the fundraisers perspective, right? They're there to raise funds, which that's nothing wrong with that. Dollars are important. That's how we've got boots on the ground and we're in the communities doing the work and making the change. But we're using the same event playbook. Where's the venue? What's the menu? What's the theme? Who's attending? How much is it going to raise? What did we do last year? Copy paste. But we
Mhm.
really need to shift that perspective from the supporters' point of view and the attendees' point of view, because they're coming to feel connected. This is their opportunity to be a part of something meaningful. They're not in our fundraising world day in and day out.
Mhm.
They have other jobs, they're doing other things. And this is a chance where they get to show up and be connected to something. So we really need to switch that framework from the fundraiser's point of view at these events and really look at it from the attendees' point of view and what they're looking for.
Yeah, and I don't think we even say that. I don't even think when we sit down or we organize our committees or we plan the gala or whatever, I don't feel like anyone ever talks about that, which is just dreadful because if you're not thinking that way, you're not flipping the script. You're just doing the same old, as you mentioned. So it's a really interesting way to reframe. I'm going to use the word mindset, right? So you've done Bloomerang is amazing at this. And another thing I mentioned in the green room, Bloomerang does phenomenal work in really getting to the nuts and bolts things, white papers, research, doing things, and then turning it over to the community without any paywall. I mean, it's just really amazing how you all educate our sector. I know you've helped educate me over the years. So you have some research. What are some key takeaways that when we think about event research, what does that
Mhm.
look like and what should we be thinking about?
Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this. I love this so much. Like you mentioned, our team, gosh, they spend hours and hours and hours. I don't know how they do it. I don't know what superhero cape they've got on, but they really do. They dig into the heart of what matters so we can start solving problems that the whole industry is seeing.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do a little teaser. We have a resource that we are releasing later this month, designing events that stick. So it goes really in depth with some of the stuff that I'm about to share with you. But we dug in and we interviewed over 250 fundraisers and over
Mm,
1,000 donors slash supporters, right?
mm,
And we found the disconnect where the fundraisers, like I mentioned, they're using the same event playbook while donors are showing up for connection and energy and clarity on like where they can find that they can make a difference. And so what we found was your supporters, your attendees want a fun experience. So I'm going to read off some stats. 70% of donors said that a fun experience would make them make the decision to stay involved after your event. 70%. A single fun experience. Do not leave them standing in a hallway eating crackers on a plate. Give them
right,
something to do.
right.
Um, 68% said that in entertainment felt more engaging. 46% pointed to interactive elements with the staff, with board members, with volunteers, where they're learning more about your organization from people who have the boots on the ground, is a deciding factor of how and when they will support your cause. And this one, this one gets me. 53% said gamifying the experiment or the experience and the event is what was the most memorable takeaway from your event. And only 6% of fundraisers said that they actually have any sort of gamification at their event. When over
Okay, so
50% of
let's
people want it.
okay, so let's dig into that, because what does that mean? I mean, I feel like, you look at the ecosystem of fundraising from, let's say, a community walk to a black tie gala, everything in between.
Mm-hmm.
What does gamification look like?
So this is where I can really talk about it. It can look like so many different things. So think about whenever you are, let's just put it for what it is. Think about whenever you're attending a party, or just whether it's for a nonprofit or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
When you show up, if you do not have a clear direction on what to do next, other than go sit down or go sit on a bleacher,
Yeah.
you're just standing there awkward. You don't
Yeah.
know who to engage with. Like, oh, I really hope you brought a guest with you so you can sit in the corner and like chat, I suppose. So what can you do to like make that fun? What element of gaming can you bring to it? Especially now when everything is gamified, everything is interactive. So what can you do at a walk before the actual fun part begins, like the walk begins or the relay begins? Is there some sort of like, I don't know, take it back to like the dunk booth or something that you can do? Dunk the CEO of the organization. Have like icebreakers between people. If you're at your gala, the wine pool, the gift certificate wall, like just have different things that people can do from the moment they enter your event till the moment they leave. Just something for them to interact with you, your staff, your volunteers, your board, and each other, because they're all there supporting the same cause. Chances are they have a lot more stuff in common.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that it's ever a struggle to get the same folks that you just talked about, your board members, senior leadership, staff, volunteers, to feel comfortable to go up to quote unquote strangers? They shouldn't be, because they're supporting your organization, but you know what I mean? To create that host hostess relationship. I find it's really hard with organizations that I've worked with. When you like go into a room and you see 5 board members standing around talking to one another. It's like, no, 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 no. Spread the love. Get out there, meet different people. It seems like it's a hard concept to communicate that this is work and this has to get done.
Definitely. And I mean, I have my own personal experience with that when we did our first conference or our first user conference, and it was our first reception, and you're throwing me in this room with clients that I've never met, and I'm already with my team who I'm comfortable with, and I know that I want to engage these people, and I want them to feel so excited, them to know how excited I am that they're here. So I've been in those shoes, and I hear it time and time again from organizations whose board members just simply aren't involved or comfortable being involved.
Right.
Senior staff that, they haven't really been boots on the ground for a while. So there's a little bit of a disconnect maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely something that I'm hearing a lot of.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there are so many different ways that you can kind of get them over that hump,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you have to point it out. I think another thing too that I see, Brittany, and I would love your feedback on this, is that my sense of it is that your development team and senior leadership team should never be behind the table checking people in, because hello, they need to be on the other side of the table, meeting people, going around, making introductions, right?
Absolutely.
And I don't know, again, you said something really interesting. It's like your comfort zone, and maybe that's where that emanates from.
Some of the most successful events that I have been on site for in the past couple of years that I've had the pleasure of going on behalf of the company is having younger interns and volunteers behind the check-in table and having your senior staff greet right at the door.
Right.
And it gets them uncomfortable, but it gets them talking. And you're the first person that's saying hello. I'm so happy you're here. I thank you so much for showing up. Oh, who did you bring this year? Oh, gosh, great to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
And have kids on the other side of the table checking people in and handing them paddles and doing whatever needs to be done for your event.
Yeah. And I think there are volunteer organizations that come from, larger organizations that are looking for those opportunities for their employees. I mean, obviously there are event management companies too that do that for fee service, but I agree with you. You have to get on the other side of the table. It is just such a bad decision, and you only have these people for a few hours. You've got to be
This
rethinking
is
this.
often your first impression with
Yeah,
most of those guests.
yeah,
You
yeah.
really want to be sitting down and, not making eye contact, not giving a genuine warm welcome. Like, these are the people who are helping you get your mission and your brand out there and like pushing it forward. Do you really want to miss the opportunity for that first impression, that first connection? I wouldn't
Exactly.
want to give it away.
No, no, because you can't recapture that. So let's talk about exciting events that you get to see. I mean, you're sitting in the driver's seat of so much information, seeing what different people are doing across the country. I know you're based in Florida. You were telling me last week you were at a conference in San Diego. What's cooking out there? What's bubbling up and really creating
Oh,
some excitement?
gosh. One thing that I'm loving that we have been seeing, especially last year, I feel like last year was the big burst for events, like finally coming out of that virtual /
Yeah.
hybrid world. I feel like people were showing up and they were showing out and made me so happy. Um, One of the interesting things that I saw that just really captured me at one of the events that I attended was bringing an interactive element to a what was traditionally just a normal sit down gala that had everything to do with the mission of the organization. So it's a
Okay.
national organization that raises service dogs. So they had two
Mm.
of their senior service dogs who were a little bit retired, and they set up this huge canvas with the handler and had paintbrushes and paint. And the dog actually took the paintbrush in its mouth and created artwork right there. And the guest could choose the next color that the dog used, the size of the brush. First of all, if you have a dog at your event, you've got me.
Oh my God, okay. I've been
But
on the rubber chicken circuit since day one. I mean, I have never heard of this. What a cool idea.
right? And it's just, and it's an easy, it's how much did you pay for the canvas? How much did you pay for the paint?
Mhm.
And it was just this incredible interactive element where your guest got to see how talented, trained, just like focused these dogs are, and imagine like what they're doing for the people that they're serving when they graduate and they're paired. And then at the very end, instead of having a traditional silent or live auction, they had the dogs come up on stage with their painting behind them and auction it off.
I love it. That is fabulous. And I've got to believe everyone in that ballroom has told that story 3 to 5 times after the event.
I mean, I was like trying to put it on my Instagram. I was like, if I knew how TikTok worked, I'd probably try to do that too. But like, I was just so blown away. I had never seen anything so engaging like that before. And like I said, coming out of that hybrid virtual event space that we were in for so long, it was so refreshing. People were laughing and just really talking about, and it started important conversations.
Right, right.
Um,
And
Go ahead.
so unexpected.
Right.
So
A dog
unexpected.
painting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's going to be hard to top.
So another thing that I've loved seeing this past year were people bringing in a peer-to-peer fundraising element to their annual dinners and galas.
Hmm.
And If you've ever talked to me in person at any conference for more than 5 minutes, you know that I'm a peer-to-peer girly through and through. I still believe in that style of fundraising. I think that it's impactful. I think that it's a way to just get your mission out there in front of different people. So we went to an event in Texas last fall called Purses with a Purpose. I hope I said that right. Purses with a Purpose. And basically, this is an amazing event in this community where they're getting these beautiful high-end retail purses like Louis Vuitton and Chanel given to them, donated to them. And what you do is when you are walking into the event, instead of just standing around and doing nothing, just chatting or being like antisocial, there's all of these games set up and you're buying game tickets, but what you're winning are raffle tickets. So then after the game, you go and you drop your raffle tickets into like the little bucket for the purses that you want to win. So not a traditional auction. So there's a chance that I'm walking away with a Louis Vuitton. Take my money. But I know 2 years, you know, I'm right. Like you're like, yeah, girl.
Hey, sister, I'm right there with you.
So 2 years ago, they introduced a peer-to-peer element. Yeah, this last fall was their second year doing it, where they're taking these strong and amazing women in the community who have had a profound impact on education. So it was an education-based org, and giving them a peer-to-peer page. So their own personal fundraising page. And the whole contest is to be this organization's next top model.
Oh,
so
my
they're putting
God.
a picture of themselves, a little video introducing who they are, what they do, and why this organization is so important to them. And then they're sharing that out with their network, which you have to think these are coworkers, family members, friends that probably have never heard of this organization before. But you've got me hooked because it has that personal element. And so they're sharing their pages, and every dollar is a vote. And then the night during dinner, instead of having just a boring sit-down meal, all those women strut their stuff on the runway, and people are pulling out their phones and trying to get those last-minute donations in. And then whoever raised the most is announced that organization's next top model. And then how fun. And then they're inviting people to sign up to be in the race for their next top model next year. So already off the bat, just getting more engagement before people even exit the room.
Wow, I love it. How fun. And
So fun.
I feel like that's one of those things that creates momentum, as you kind of alluded to, for the subsequent events, right? I mean, it gets everybody so excited that they're like, I want to do this next year, or I'm back in next year. I mean, it's automatically kind of stirring the pot going forward.
Absolutely. You're already inviting people to be a part and engaged a year from now. And people are excited to be a part of it, engaged a year from now.
Right, right. Well, and that's one more reason. One of my favorite things, which I feel like we don't do enough, is that I think you need to have the date set for that next event so that you can announce it and get people mentally thinking, I'm going to be back, or I'm going to support this, or I'm going to sponsor, whatever. I mean, that's something you can't wait on. That's a personal.
And you've got the energy right there. So work off, work with it.
Exactly, exactly. We don't have a lot of time left, but I really want to get some more clarification from you on how to use data to maximize your event efforts, what that data should look like. I mean, it's one thing to say, oh, yeah, well, the data is showing this, but what data should we be looking at, and how should we be using that to maybe recraft our mindset?
Absolutely. I think the first thing that we should be looking at that I feel like sometimes is often overlooked is really getting into your attendees and your supporters that attended your event and looking at their behavior. Are you actually paying attention to your first time attendees, like you're the guest of your guest? Are you looking at how they interacted with you? Because attending is still important. Even if they just literally were there to support your mission and learn more, still very important.
Yeah.
Did they bid? Did they donate? Did they interact in anything that you had at your event? I think really making sure that you're using the right tools to track that information, and then don't let it sit in your database. Use it. Let's segment it. Let's use technology well. I think that's like one of the biggest things that I would like to see a little bit more from nonprofits
Mhm.
is taking that information and then instead of just sitting on it, actually being able to utilize it to further your communication and that
Mhm.
donor journey and
Mhm.
fulfill that pipeline. So you're getting those people not just back at your next event that you're hosting next year, but you're getting them to your free community events. You're inviting them to tour your facility. You are
Right.
engaging with them and really focusing on donor retention from the very
Mhm.
first event that they attend.
Yeah. It seems to me that when you talk about this, it kind of sets off a bell that says to me, you need to be going into a big event knowing what your next events are. Like you said, a tour or a thought leadership talk or something
Absolutely.
that you know that possibly there are going to be ways to guide some of your guests back into a re-engagement. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. That's 100% it. And I think that's why having technology and using it well is so
Mhm,
important during
mhm,
your event planning, at your event, post event,
mhm,
because there's so many things that you can do off the bat that's setting yourself up for donor retention.
right.
Um, Outlining your thank yous ahead of time,
Mhm,
outlining your impact summary ahead of time, where you're just like plugging in that information post event.
right.
So you know exactly how you're going to speak to your supporters and
Mhm,
what you're going to say before they even show up to your event.
right.
What does your invite for next year look like? It needs to be compelling and engaging and inspiring. All of this stuff should constantly be something that is just rolling into all of
Mhm,
your events that you're hosting. It should always be
mhm,
kind of top at mind, going in with the ending in mind.
mhm. Okay, so put up your catcher's mitt because this is a curveball. A lot of these things that you've been talking about are beyond the capacity of a regular fundraising development team. How do you feel about going out and contracting with event planning companies or getting that talent in so that you can perform a little, I don't know, differently or better? Or do you
Yeah,
feel like this can be done with the team in place?
I think a little bit of both.
Okay.
And I think it's at where you're at in your fundraising journey as a team.
Mhm.
But I mean, on it, we found that 68 or 69% of fundraisers cited that limited staff was their biggest issue with
Yeah.
these kinds of things, right? So
Yeah.
I think that it's a little bit of both. I think if you are in a place where you can get that technology in place that'll work for you, so you're not giving you or your staff more time in the day, you're just letting
Yeah.
it do what it's designed to do so you could repurpose your time in your day to focus on other
Mhm.
efforts. That's a big thing. But
Mhm.
we partner with some incredible event agencies as well that we've seen out there, and if it's something that you're able to do, I think that it is so beneficial
Mhm.
because you're going to be working with people who have worked with different organizations of your size, of what, like, kind of the same mission, and you're going to get some experience that you might not already have collectively on your team.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm glad that you kind of connected that through line for us. I mean, it's to me, it's the difference between going to an event and there's a local weatherman doing or weather girl doing the live auction versus a
Hmm.
benefit auctioneer. You know
Yes.
what I mean? It's like, hey, really been fun talking to you. Thank you for your wisdom. Brittany Bedford, Customer Success Manager at Bloomerang. I would venture to say if you're able to connect with Brittany, you are going to have customer success because just with our short time today together, we've learned so much from you. You can learn more about Bloomerang and what they do, bloomerang.com. And again, there's so much research and information that Bloomerang does. It is remarkable how they give that out to our sector. So don't miss that opportunity to get cutting edge information that's really well resourced and researched. Again, I want to thank our amazing partners. They include Bloomerang, who we've had on today, American Nonprofit Academy, Staffing Boutique, Nonprofit Thought Leader, Interim Executives Academy, Your Part-Time Controller, Fundraisers Friday, and JMT Consulting. These are the folks that join us day in and day out. Hey, Brittany, we end each and every episode with this message, and it's so simple, but it's so complicated. And it goes like this: to stay well so you can do well. Thanks, everyone. See you again.